In today's video, I'm going to be doing another dungeon build video. Now, you're probably expecting it to be either healer or tank, but it's actually another Berserker build video as you read by the title. Now, this is because of Hypixel itself changing and also my channel changing over time, including the quality and all that. I'm not going to lie, the last Berserker video, I didn't even edit the video, and my mic was a little bit too loud, and it just in general wasn't a good video, but it ended up getting 7K views as I said. But besides that, anyway, before we get into the video, please consider subscribing, liking, and possibly joining my Discord server, link in the description. To start off for early game, the armor you're going to be looking at is adaptive. Now, adaptive is a very cheap armor, and it has just a small requirement of completing floor 3, which is really easy to do. This set is also pretty cheap besides the chestplate. The chestplate is around 3 mil. But besides that, the set itself is really good for early game, because you can also play different classes than just Berserker with this armor. You can literally play any class. We're going to be looking at another expensive item, and that's just because it's such a good item and it has no requirement, which it probably should. And that's of course the Flower of Truth. The Flower of Truth has no requirement and it is 3 mil. This will be one of the best early game weapons you can have. And of course, if you can't afford the armor or the weapon, you could just find some sort of alternate for this build. And lastly, the pet will be 1 mil, and that is a uncommon griffin, and it gives you regeneration and strength, which will make it sort of a survival and damage pet. That's pretty much all for early game. And if I did forget anything that would improve the build, just comment in the comment section saying what item would improve the build. Moving on to mid game, you're going to look at Shadow Assassin for the armor. Now, the chestplate is quite expensive, so you would probably get a Zombie Knight chestplate, which is a lot cheaper, and you do need like 24 Catacombs 24 requirement for that. And for the weapon, I'm not going to lie, you should probably stay with the Flower of Truth. It's really good for clearing rooms. And then the pet would be a Baby Yeti. Now, if you can't afford both the chestplate and the Baby Yeti, I recommend actually getting the Baby Yeti before the chestplate. And if you cannot afford either the chestplate or the Baby Yeti, you can just stay with the Griffin, and it should do you just fine. Moving on to late game, straight up, you're going to probably want full Necron. Now, of course, if you can't afford this, you could probably just have the Shadow Assassin chestplate instead of the Necron chestplate. And then for the weapon, you have a lot of choices, so I'm going to save that for last. So for the pet, you just got to stay with the Baby Yeti. It's really good for survival. And then with weapons, now you have a lot of choices with this, and that is, you can either get a Livid Dagger or a Flower of Truth. The Flower of Truth is mainly for clearing rooms and also doing a decent amount of damage. Now, the Livid Dagger is more expensive, but you do get that faster attack speed. Now, if both of these weapons are pretty cheap and you're like, I could probably get something better than this, you can go with the Giant Sword. Now, if you do get a Giant Sword with One for All, just keep in mind you won't have that Siphon enchantment, meaning healing will be a problem for you. But you could technically do is just get a Giant Sword without One for All, and you should be fine. Or not, you could probably just go with a different weapon, like a Axe of the Shredded. Just keep in mind, you do need that Zombie Slayer 8. But this weapon is still really good and will probably be able to do floor 7. Now, of course, you can get the Valkyrie as the last weapon. It is just quite expensive, but it is, of course, a really good weapon. But that is it for the new and improved Berserker build video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and liking, as it supports me a lot, like I said in the intro. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.